Hi everyone, welcome back to the second part of my video. I had to break it up, it was almost 20 minutes long, and I just wanted to make sure I give you all the information. So in this video, I will be talking to you about the actual things that you can use, resources that you can use to make the ask for funds that you need to start your nonprofit before you receive your 501c3. So if you haven't already seen part one, I give you a few tips on how to start thinking about asking for your pre-startup fundraising. Just tips that I use and tips that you should keep in mind when you're going out to ask for your pre-startup funds before you have your 501c3. And I think they are important, so if you haven't watched that video, go back and watch part one of this, apparently a series. Basically, it's just, I want you to have some of those tips and then build on those with these actual tips that you can use to put in place while you're starting your nonprofit. Before I actually go into the ways that you can actually raise funds, I want you to understand that people are willing to help. As long as they know what you're trying to do and you can explain that to them, they are more than willing to help. And so I want you to understand, I want you to just keep that in mind, that like just because you're not making gobs of money, like you're not bringing in $10,000, you can do it piece by piece. You can talk about, I'm creating a website right now. You can talk about, I'm trying to raise money to lease a building, or and then tell them why you're trying to do that. So you have to make people come alongside you with your mission and your story and your why. You have to make them understand your why, so that they can see how it's going to fit with them. So moving into a few ways that you can actually raise your funds, I want to start off with GoFundMe. Now, all of us know about GoFundMe. You will not be able to use GoFundMe as a nonprofit when you first start out, which is okay. And you can let people know that, when they are giving to your campaign, if that's what you're using to publicize on Facebook or wherever, you can just say the fees are still taken out of whatever you give. If you'd like to cover the fees are 2.5% more. And then that way, if somebody gives $100, they can give you, $102.50. That will cover your fee. So, you just have to find ways to explain exactly what it is that you need from people without being pushy, but also just explaining your mission, how you hope to accomplish it, and if they'd like to come alongside you, they can. So the first one is GoFundMe. The second one is Kickstarter. And this is another platform that allows people with ideas to go on and get their funding from those areas. Now, I'm not sure with Kickstarter if that's actually just a loan program, like people will loan you money so that you can start and then you have to pay them back eventually. And if that is the case, I want to make sure before I say that. But if that is the case, definitely read up on Kickstarter first. I know with GoFundMe, it's just a pure platform to raise funds. So I would definitely use that platform. And then Kickstarter is another option. There's also Patreon, which is another option if you want. These are great for social media marketing. If you have a Facebook page, or you have a newsletter, or you just have your personal Facebook page and you just want to let your friends and family know what you're doing, these are all great uses for those types of things. And also, say you start a YouTube channel or you start a blog or whatever the case, you can always refer people back to that channel. So start with like a small amount first. Say maybe your first amount is you want to raise $1,250 so that you can get your nonprofit status, and that's what you're working towards, right? Show people, let them come along with you. Like, let them see you do the paperwork. I don't know, record a video for that. There are a lot of options that you can do that will allow you the opportunity to bring people along with your journey. And if you're doing this with friends and family, keep them in the loop. Let them know where you are in this process. Like, what are you doing with my money? What would you be doing with my money if I gave you money? Let them see you do a little bit of work first before you start asking, right? Do what you can. The first amount of money, when I wanted to just get started, that first $400, I put that out, and then the $850, when my husband and I put that out as well. And then, I asked friends and family too to help. And you can I wouldn't recommend this, but you could get sponsorships as well for that time, but it's not considered a sponsorship. It'd be more of a gift. So you need to make sure you're using the right terminology, because if you say a sponsorship, then people believe that they can write it off. But if you say a gift, like, would you help me start this nonprofit? You need to be thinking about what would they get back from that, and like, how are you going to help advertise for them, so that they feel like they're getting something from helping you do this. And you might want to write up agreements and contracts to make sure that everybody's on the same page. They know that this is not tax deductible. They know that they're not getting any advertising because maybe you don't have a website up yet. Or what is the agreement for when your website is up later? Are they going to become a sponsor? Are they going to be recognized as that? So you have to really be thinking about, like, what am I giving that person back? I'm asking for something, but what are they getting back? Or what do they expect from me? Those are the types of things you have to really keep in mind. The next tip I have for you is to create an event or a competition. Now, if you create an event or a competition, you can create an event that's for profit, right? And you can use those profits to pay anything you want for your nonprofit. So, as an example, I have an event that I basically pay for from the tickets that are sold, and then the extra funds that come from those tickets that are sold, because those tickets are their donation to the program. Those tickets that are sold that are over what pays for the event then come to the program. And you have to realize too that, based on statistics, like over 70% of the funds that nonprofits get are by individual donors. So if you can find a way to capitalize on individual donors and making them feel part of your nonprofit, then you can also, create a way for them to be part of an event or a competition or something like that where they pay into this. And you just can't call it a fundraiser because it's not tax deductible. And you need to make sure that's very, very clear. Like, you never want your sponsors or your supporters to feel like you're duping them. So you need to make it very clear that these funds that you're raising will go towards a nonprofit, but because you don't have your 501c3 yet, they are not yet tax deductible. Just make sure that you have all of your, T's crossed, all your I's dotted. Make sure you do everything that you can with due diligence to let people know exactly where you are in the process and exactly what you're trying to do. The worst thing that you can do is say, oh yeah, give us a donation, and you can't give a tax deduction letter back to them. So be sure that you make sure that's a high priority for you. So number 5 is to connect with other nonprofits. Now, I would say you should be doing this all the time. I would say you should be doing this even before you are at the point of getting your 501c3. Find some nonprofits that either someone there that you trust, or you believe in the program and you are impressed by how they do things, or it's somehow along the same lines as your own mission. And I used a fiscal sponsor when I started out as a nonprofit. So I have a video on that, how to start your nonprofit before you get your 501c3, and I explain a little bit more about how I did that. But for this case, as far as funding goes, it's good to connect with other nonprofits and other even other business owners that have maybe some affiliation with what you're doing, just to ask, where'd you get your funding when you started up? Any questions you may have, and I would write those questions down, and I would have those things readily available for you when someone says, yes, I'd be happy to meet with you about whatever. I've talked to tons of people about my nonprofit and how I got started and the things that I've done to start up. And you just really, you need to gather your information from them and really look at it more as an information than you are going to ask for something, to make an ask for anything. Think about ways that you can partner with them. If there's, ever anything that you guys are looking to do that are the same thing that maybe you could partner on. And maybe that's where you put in more of the work and you take a smaller portion. But look at how you can help someone before you start asking how they can help you. That way, they don't feel like you're just asking questions just to ask. And starting a nonprofit, it's important to do just that, which is ask. You have to ask a lot of questions. You need to be inquisitive. You need to ask how other people did it. and ask them how they fundraise. Ask them if there's any ways that they could that you can fundraise without being a 501c3, because sometimes you can put on a chili cook-off or something, right? It doesn't have to be for a nonprofit. You can just put on that event, and if it's a good enough event and you get people, then you're raising your funds. It's just like putting out a lemonade stand, right? Like, what can you do to raise the funds that you need? Can you put your own funds aside so that you can pay for your nonprofit? Because sometimes that's what you have to do, right? That's what I had to do for mine. Can you ask friends and family if they'll support you while you start this nonprofit venture? And here's how much it costs. You need to be able to show people where this money is going. How much does your website cost? Is that the cheapest you can get it? Could you do it in kind? I mean, there are lots of different options that you can do to get started. So you just need to know the terminology that you're using. And you need to be able to be upfront, and you need to be able to explain your mission and your vision. I would say those are probably the most important parts of this video, is really being able to know your mission and your vision, being able to explain that clearly so that people can either come alongside you or not, and have things broken down as to how much they cost. Like, this program costs this much. To build my website, it costs this much. To apply for the 501c3, it costs this much. And then break those two things down, since there are two different parts to that, right? So and then start your newsletter, do all the things that you need to do to get started, and that's how you'll start building up your supporters and your supporting base for you to raise the funds that you need to do your pre-fundraising startup. So that's the end of this series. I do hope that these 2 videos helped you be on your way to getting the funds that you need to start up your new nonprofit. And let me know what you decided to use and what tips helped you the most in the comments down below. I'd also love to see you on the Social Life, where you can email me directly. And that is the Social Life Diaries. I will leave that link down below, and I'll see you next week. Thank you so much for watching.